Welcome back. This video is a little unlike most of my videos. Ordinarily, I record an intro where I discuss what I'm about to try to do, and then I try to do it. In this case, I shot all of the clips already, and now decided I would add an intro. What this video is about is a continuation of my Panther install Chaos Edition video, based on a viewer comment, XTACDK, who suggested upgrading the barely functional version of Panther that I had to 10.3.9 in hopes that it would have the appropriate drivers for the graphics card, and that would get rid of that little box thing that we saw. It made it look like it was running in an emulator. Now, by the time he had suggested that, I had already just gone ahead and installed Tiger, planning basically to be done with it. But I couldn't give up on it. So what I did, and I'll be explaining this in the clips too, because I didn't know I was going to go back and do this. I used a FireWire enclosure, put a 60 gig SSD in it, and cloned Mac OS 10.3.9 Panther from my Sawtooth, which runs fine, onto that FireWire drive. Then I went down to plug the FireWire drive in and see if it would work. I won't go further into that just because I'd be spoiling the whole video. Why should you watch any more of it? I will say one thing though. First of all, thanks to XTAC for the suggestion, and it did, I really appreciate people throwing things out there and giving me ideas as to how I can get things to work better. And anybody has anything like that, please let me know. Anyway, I would also say one thing. What is the purpose in doing this? Purely nostalgia from my standpoint. My original first Mac, which was an iMac G5, had Panther pre-installed. It was a 2004. The one that I picked up was a 2005. But that's why I was trying to install Panther in the first place. And the other reason is just to see if it can be done. There's no good reason, really, for running Panther on an iMac G5. But I think it's kind of cool to find out, is it possible to do? Well, if you want the answer to that too, stay tuned. All right. Because, as you know, I never give up on anything. This is the Sawtooth. I had a comment on my misbegotten attempt to install Panther on the iMac G5, which can't boot into Panther, but I almost succeeded anyway. And that comment suggested perhaps updating to 10.3.9, because I believe my installer disk installs 10.3.6. Maybe it's earlier. I may be wrong on that. Anyhow, what I'm doing here is cloning which I mentioned in that video. I might try. Excuse me. I am cloning the working partition for Panther on the Sawtooth. And then I will plug it in via FireWire to the iMac G5. If in fact it can boot and doesn't have the screen anomalies, I will probably then simply copy over everything, using Carbon Copy Cloner again, and replace the Tiger installation that's on there, since this is what I originally wanted. Honestly, I don't think it's going to work, but worth a try anyway. Stay tuned. Well, that was pretty painless. It took 30 minutes and 25 seconds to complete the cloning. I did want to take a moment to mention the commenter who prompted me to actually go ahead and try this was XTAC-DK. Now, his suggestion was that 10.3.9 might have additional graphics drivers that would get that installation out of that little box. I didn't really want to go through it. It's kind of painful getting that installation to go using the CDs. I might try it again if this doesn't work. I might not. But yeah, so just cloning this seems to me to make a little bit more sense. And then we will see. And then I could try finding the drivers if in fact Panther does not have them. But, you know, it's worth a try. Yeah, 5.63 gigabytes. This is a fully set up installation of Panther. I'm booted into Tiger right now so that I could use Carbon Copy Cloner. But yeah, it's got what apps I could find that would still run on Panther, which were quite a few. It's got a complete OS 9 installation on that same partition. It's bootable on the Sawtooth. It won't be bootable on the iMac, but all of the applications will be available under Classic, including the game, so we can see how those play. Yeah, no, I'm really getting ahead of myself. Like, I'm sure this is going to work. It probably isn't, but heck, it would be very cool if I could get Panther to actually boot and run decently on an unsupported machine. Sort of like DOS Dude 1 in reverse, going to earlier versions. Okay, well, stay tuned. We'll see what we come up with. All right, then. I've got the freshly cloned FireWire drive plugged into the iMac. Let's try loading the boot manager and see what happens. Right. It'll take a little while to locate the FireWire drive. Untitled? Yeah, I never did put a name on it. I will just be amazed if this works. Pleased, but amazed. Okay. Waiting forever for the wristwatch to go away. Come on, machine, there's nothing else plugged in. Okay, here we go. So, well, it's trying to anyway. It might kernel panic. It's doing something. Huh. I'll be darned. Look at this. $10.3.9. Full screen. Here's Pages working. Huh. Now, one thing I notice is that the fans are ramped up. I got distracted there. Didn't want to save the gibberish. Yeah, so we've got the fan running at full speed, which is probably a Panther fan control issue. So I'm going to have to look into that and see what I might be able to do in terms of controlling the fan speed, because there's no reason for it to be running up like that, but that's got to be it. Yeah, anybody off the top of their head who knows of a third party, well, no, I'm going to look into this and see what I come up with before I go further. Because as it is, I wouldn't really want to use this to replace Tiger, just with the fans running like that. Let's start Classzilla. But I mean, it does work, and I'm sure this fan issue has got to be fixable. Classzilla won't start. It's not finding the OS 9 system folder. It's finding the Tiger system folder, which is why when I clicked on the Classzilla link, okay, so there's another issue. Yeah, when I clicked on the Classzilla link, it didn't work out because I never did. I put that system folder on. Yeah. All it copied was the Panther material. So I wonder if I go back to the sawtooth and just manually copy, or copy manually more properly, the system folder and the applications folder, etc. Maybe it'll work then. Okay. Yeah, but everything else appears to be working. iCal comes up and works, and it knows today's date. The address book with the entry that I put in for my father, that got copied over. All right, so it looks like the only two issues to deal with are going to be copying over the OS9 data and then coming up with a fan controller that'll fudge. There we go. With a fan controller that'll set it so that the fans are not ramped up like this. Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to go do the copying of the OS9 material, and I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, we did have some pilot error going on there. When I set up the sawtooth, I originally had the idea that each of the OS X installations would point Classic towards the actual partition for OS 9. That ended up just confusing things. So what I ended up doing was to put an OS 9 system folder on every one of the OS Xs, besides the Leopard, which of course does not run Classic. But I guess I never got around to doing that with Panther. So what I've done is to copy over, first of all, the necessary OS 9 files. What's really most necessary is the system folder. That's what will allow Classic to run. And then, of course, the applications, which need to be there. And that should enable everything to work. And then there are a few other things here, the documents that I'll need to copy over, and put them all in the untitled drive that's got the Panther. Applications in particular, I put a lot of apps on OS 9 on this machine, so that takes several minutes, but I'm going to do that, then head back down to the iMac and see if Classic works now. Stay tuned. Alright, I booted back up into Panther on the 2005 iMac G5 that is not supposed to be able to run Panther. Alright, now it's going to take a moment to find. Yes, it has found the system folder. Now, of course, I could have just selected the system folder on Tiger. That wouldn't have done anything. First of all, it's not really set up. None of these OS 9 apps are even there. And assuming all of this works, I would be erasing the Tiger installation and replacing it with Panther. So, anyway, let's start Classic. Needs to update files. Oh, I was like seeing the boot screen. USB Overdrive is a third-party solution to add in scroll and right-click functionality on OS 9, which does not have it natively. All right, now let's see if ClassZilla starts. And that's a no. Probably because it's still pointing. Yeah, it's an alias to a ClassZilla that doesn't exist. Whoops. Idiot. Applications Mac OS. Alright, and ClassZilla. Alright, we'll get rid of this. Pull ClassZilla down into the dock. Now see if, and now it starts. At least it's trying to. And it doesn't want to use my profile. Okay, I think I may know what that issue is. Not super important. Okay. Now, I'm wondering what else. Is this word? Oh, this is probably word 10. Let's look at about word. Yeah, this is word 10. So that's native OS 10. It's exactly the same program as Word 2000, which was OS 9. All right, so yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what else can we run here testing Classic? We know basically that Classic works. I'm going to have to monkey with a little bit to get my profile in there. I'd really like to do that because of all the email. Applications. What a mess this is. Oh, I can't just clean it up. What else can we run? Apple works as carbonized. Where's the games folder? There it is. So we're going to start Oregon Trail. Yep. Okay, so Classic works fine as long as the files are there. All right. Put that. All right. So this is, it's pretty amazing because this machine is not supposed to be able to run Panther, but you know, the other night I did get it to install, and X-Tech, if you watch this, all thanks to you, you're absolutely right, 10.3.9 has the necessary drivers. Now, I've got some other things to take care of. I'm going to throw this video out there. I need to figure out a way to get the fan control sorted out. I'm not sure when I'm going to have the time to really look into that. If anybody out there who sees this video knows of a good fan control solution for Panther, let me know, because I'm pretty sure there's got to be a software way to keep these fans from being ramped up all the way. All right, but for the moment, this is going to be the end of this video. Please be good to other people, maybe now more than ever. Be good to yourselves and take very good and careful care, and we'll be back with you probably tomorrow, the way these things are going.